We're fine now. That's what folks on YouTube heard. And the people in back. So now they can all hear me. Hello. Labor Day weekend. How fun is that? Now we have Phil-approved toys in the kids' room. So, all right. And tumbleweeds, this has got to be some of the nicer weather for Tumbleweeds Music Festival. For those of you that on YouTube that don't know where we are, the reason they call it tumbleweeds is because we live in the desert. So, but it's a great thing. We used to have Sky in the Road. They used to come and play with us every Sunday during that festival, but they don't anymore. So, but we love them all anyway. Stuff going on. Tomorrow's Labor Day. Imagine that. Essential oils on Tuesday. Cindy? Yep. If you want to know anything about essential oils, Cindy, raise your hand. Interchange with Sandra and William on Wednesday. ARE meets on Thursday. And the first Dream Quest class of this series on Saturday. So, and of course an article on the back by Janice. On Sunday, September 27th, that's the day after the 26th, and the day before the 28th, there will be a Tri-Cities Interfaith Alliance Peace Walk. They'll meet at Beth Shalom down here on Thayer, and there's a flyer in the back if you want to know anything about that, participate or whatever. That would be wonderful. How about our cooler weather? Isn't this something? So it's going to warm back up. Should be a little bit warmer this coming week. So, and for the picnic next weekend. Yes? No emotion code Monday, which is tomorrow. Okay. Sometimes we deny being worthy of praise, hoping to generate an argument we would be pleased to lose. Silence propagates itself. And the longer talk has been suspended, the more difficult it is to find something to say. I don't have that problem. And neither does Janice. So, to do all the talking and not willing to listen is a form of greed. Democritus Albedera of 460 BC. So they said smart stuff back then. So. In the film Raiders of the Lost Ark, I still have yet to see this. I mean, what they're talking about here. So the next time somebody does, make sure that this is actually correct. So I've read it now a few times. In the films Raiders of the Lost Ark, when Indiana Jones falls into the snake pit, you know, all the snakes, there is an image hidden among the wall's hieroglyphics of C-3PO and R2-D2. Is there? There you go. We have verification. It is there. And we do have a couple patron saints by the name of John Lennon and George Carlin. And John said, if someone thinks that love and peace is a cliche that must have been left behind in the 60s, that's a problem. Love and peace are eternal. And George, I think I am, therefore I am. I think. Yeah, it does sound like Dr. Seuss, doesn't it? Yeah. Until a few generations ago, British law made death the penalty for many crimes. Every magistrate had the power to take the lives of the lawbreakers whom he judged. In the 18th century, many minor crimes were removed from the death list, and the power of local justices was restricted. A death warrant was not even official unless it bore a proper seal from a high court. A criminal had reason for hoping as long as his death warrant remained unsealed. But after the official papers were signed and sealed, his fate was certain. Soon, to seal one's fate came to be known of accepting a marriage proposal or any other act that bound a person to a sure outcome. Now you know. Now you know. You know, and if you don't like my jokes, it's your fault. Because everything I say comes from you all. So I don't look up anything. So I thought I saw this is Lexophiles, people like words. I thought I saw an eye doctor on an Aleutian island, but it turned out to be an optical illusion. She was only a whiskey maker, but he loved her still. There are people around here that have stills. I know of a couple. So, a rubber band pistol was confiscated from algebra class because it was a weapon of math disruption. Yeah. No matter how much you push the envelope, it'd still be stationary. Oh, Christian one-liners. Don't let the worries get the best of you. Remember, Moses started out as a basket case. Some people are kind, polite, and sweet-spirited until you sit in their pews. Many folks want to serve God, but only as advisors. It is easier to preach 10 sermons than it is to live one. The good Lord didn't create anything without a purpose, but mosquitoes come pretty darn close. So. All right. Why men wear earrings? And I'm sure this is absolutely true. It has to be. It was on the internet. It has to be true. Did you ever wonder why earrings became so popular with men? A man is at work one day when he notices that his coworker is wearing an earring. The man knows his coworker to be a normally conservative fella and is curious about this sudden change in fashion sense. The man walks up to him and says, "I didn't know you were into earrings." "Don't make such a big deal. It's only an earring," he replies sheepishly. His friend falls silent for a few minutes. But then his curiosity prods him to ask, "So, how long have you been wearing one?" "Ever since my wife found it in my truck." Always wondered how this trend got started. Oops. Yeah, that's what you call busted. Yes.
While you're getting that ready, is it
Okay.
batteries are in there?
There aren't.
Picnic.
Picnic. Picnic.
Yeah.
Picnic.
Okay. Just real quick, we need to touch on the picnic. Joe and I are going to do pulled pork and pulled chicken again this year. The church is going to supply the buns and all of the things, the paper plates, some water, things like that. We do need to have the fixings to go with to make it a complete meal. So if you're going to attend the picnic, we do ask that you bring a potluck dish of some kind, whatever you feel guided to bring. We're going to need all kinds of salads, desserts, even a hot dish if you want. It's going to be after church, right after church, down at the Columbia Point Park. I believe it was number 1, pavilion number 1.
It's the one closest to the water.
Yes, near the bathrooms too. Please bring your drums because we do drumming, and it's amazing because people that are down there will stop and come and watch us do our drumming, and it's a pretty cool thing. So right after church next weekend, bring your dish, and we hope to have lots and lots of fun. Lawn chairs, oh yes, lawn chairs, blankets, otherwise everything else that you'll need for the meal will be supplied. So, thank you.
And I promised, I promised I would give these back to the kids. You want to sing a song? It's by Josh Groban. Oh, look at that. Our wall is expanding.
Of course, now I'm going to cry. I have been crying. Sheesh, that gets me every time. For those of you who didn't get to listen because you're on YouTube, that was "You Raise Me Up" by Josh Groban. Gets me every time. Go away. Thank you. There was great singing also, by the way. I was in the back, couldn't hear a thing. Why are we falling apart here, Phil? Okay. Don't do that to a Virgo. Just do well. Okay. Well, I have to tell you, I'm not qualified to give you the message today. I'm uniquely unqualified because I got issues with money. At the same time, I'm uniquely qualified to share with you the progress I've made because I'm better than I used to be.
Emergency batteries. Hopefully they work.
And you're testing them, I'm sure.
Hello.
Not like you asked my permission the first time. Oh, goodness. So I have to tell you, I come by my financial dysfunction. Honestly. As my parents were like totally screwed up when it comes to money. My mother grew up and they had nothing. They had nothing. Big family, didn't have much. So for her, she had issues with money. My dad had issues with money. His issues were different than Mom's issues. Dad thought money could buy him self-esteem. And my mom thought money was evil. So I'm real screwed up. So come from. I want to talk to you about healing our relationship with money. Next Sunday, Crystal's going to share with us a portion of the law of attraction called the art of allow, which is about allowing good things to come to you. But if we're not healed, if our relationship with money isn't healed or on a path of healing, it doesn't matter what you try, it's not going to work for you. So let's get back to the basics and let's really look at our relationship with money. Sometimes we view our money like we would a lover. Oh, don't leave me, please, don't leave me. And other times we feel like, get over here. I want you to do this for me. I don't care, get away from me. I don't know, whatever. And sometimes we view money as well, I deserve that, so I'm going to not pay my bill, but I'm going to go buy this because I deserve it. It's going to make me feel better if I have that. If I buy this, then I'll feel better about myself because that's my esteem is all wrapped up in that. Like arm candy. And sometimes we have turned money into a terrible taskmaster where we sacrifice our health and our relationships to pursue it. So we kind of have this messed up perception of our finances. And we come by it honestly. Life circumstances challenges us into thinking, warped thinking about our finances, about money. The good book, you've probably heard money is the root of all evil. Well, the real quote is, the love of money is the root of all evil. I would venture to guess that the hatred of money is also not productive. In my come from, people that had money were evil. I mean, just look at how we talk about it. Somebody might be dirt poor, but they're filthy rich. And we look at the people that have money, and this is my big hang-up, is that people that have money, a lot of money, for some reason that makes them morally deficit. Phil and I had this conversation earlier in this week, and I was like really struggling with that. To give you an example, have you ever seen the Barrett-Jackson auto auction. Thank you, couldn't think of the word. I can hardly watch that. There's been an unbelievable amounts of money, more money than I could make in 2 to 10 years, on one car. And I was telling Philip, that just gripes me. I don't know why it gripes me, but it gripes me. You know, maybe it's a throwback to my childhood. I don't know. Whatever, it's my issue. I got to look at that. Phil says, honey, some of those people are paying a pittance of what they have, but do you have any idea how much money they donate to charity? Not just at the auto auction. There's a lot of times they'll raffle off a car, auction off a car. All of the proceeds go to charity. He says, I'm not just talking about that. Look at all of the nonprofit organizations. If rich people stopped supporting them, they would crumble and fail. So stop resenting rich people for being rich. Stop hating them for that. And be grateful that they're utilizing their abundance in a good way. I had to think about that. I'm a slow learner. So then I remembered that when I was in high school, there was this guy, you know how you get grocery bread and it's got the little plastic tabby thing that hooks on there? He was broke, thought of making these little tabby things, and then he was rich. I could like him here, but I can't like him here. And then I wondered, well, I could have thought of a tabby thing. But he did. That was an inspiration. That was a gift. Why should I begrudge someone who took an idea and made $1 gazillion out of it? Why does that make that person a bad person? Well, he can't understand me, I think. No. He was poor. And then he wasn't. So I'm working on my relationship with money to get over that resentment. I don't know why it's there. Who cares why it's there, really? But there it is. And realize that if I am embittered towards somebody who has money, what's the chances of money coming to me? I'm shooting myself in the foot. Good thing I got big feet. But we think weird when it comes to money. So what would be a better way to look at money? Well, I have an idea or two for you. Let me just check my notes, make sure I'm staying on track here. Because, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about sometimes we view money as a sluggish slave. It's not here when I want it. It's not here fast enough. And we're codependent on it. Now, we're interdependent on money. Money is really important. It's not everything, but it's really important. If you want to eat, you got to have money. That's just how it is in the world. The cruel taskmaster, talked about that. Or it can be an adept tool. Here's the deal with money. I would suggest that it's important to start looking at money as if it were like a snow shovel. When it's snowing really hard, you need a snow shovel. Gotta dig yourself out. And when things are cranking along really good, it's a sunny day, you can put the snow shovel in the shed. But it's a tool, and I don't need to have an emotional attachment one way or the other to it. I can have an emotional attachment to the outcome, but loving or hating it either way isn't productive. There needs to be a mutual respect, an appreciation for what it can and cannot do. What it can do is put food on the table. Honest day's work for an honest day's wage. There's that energy going out and something coming back. Energy going out, something coming back. That's the flow of things. When I think it's more than that, I'm screwed up. When I think it's less than that, I'm screwed up. So getting into this place of balance is really, really important. And I'm even uncomfortable talking about this. And Phil will tell you, I've agonized over this. Agonized. I tell you. So let's talk about tools. Before I want to talk about tools, I have a Bible passage I want to read to you. Now there's a ton of Bible passages in the good book about money and stuff. I'm going to share one, and I want you to ponder this one. Proverbs 37:4. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Not your ego-driven wants necessarily, but the desires of your heart. Because here's the deal. I may desire to be wealthy, but maybe the good Lord wants me to rescue kittens. We've talked about this before. And there's one available. I've already rescued one. This heathen cat, I don't think he would tolerate a second cat. Love that little guy. But, there's things that we might want, but there's also things that our heart desires. And our heart's desire is going to win every time. And when we're in alignment with our heart's desires, we're in the flow of working, putting energy out, and benefits and abundance flowing back. We're in that flow of energy. It's all about energy and the thought processes in it. So let me share with you a couple of tools that I think might be helpful. These are tools to help money work for you. Now, I'm going to tell you this because I think it's really important for you to know I'm not listing them in order of importance because they all across the board are equal. And a little bit of all of them is really good. So I'm not saying, well, you got to get really perfect at this one first and then go to the next step. This is not steps. This is about a general overall toolbox that is important for you to encourage and nurture for yourself. First tool, gratitude. Gratitude. When we have gratitude for what we have, the universe says, oh look, let's give her more of that. How do you know if you have gratitude? It's what your heart's on, what you're dwelling on, what you're thinking about. If you're thinking about that bill or those bills, what are you going to get? More bills. Dang. It's that flow. What you put out comes back. What you put out comes back. So what are you focusing on? Gratitude would be a really good thing to focus on. Because that leads to an unintended consequence that is for your benefit. Not only do you get abundance back, but you also find peace. When we're grateful for what we have, a peace settles in. And then that divine intervention can happen. Because when we're grateful, in that state of being grateful or have gratitude, then the universe shifts for us. I know you've experienced it. You know you have too. It's amazing. Balance. Balance between bills and obligations, duties and responsibilities, and play. Balance that out. If we're too far and if all we're doing is paying bills, life ain't not too much fun. If all we're doing is having fun, not paying our bills, that's not fun either. I tell my grandkids, if you have a savings account and a skill, you'll never be afraid. So part of the balance is creating for yourself a savings account. Phil calls it paying yourself first. Pay yourself first. Because rainy days happen. Good book says rain falls on the just and the unjust. Crud falls on the just and the unjust. It doesn't matter if you're a good person or not, stuff happens. And having that fund, that rainy day fund, is your cushion against terror. You know, when you don't have, how many have you experienced this? You don't have anything, and what you have gets broken. And when you're really down and you're really not good, that's when really bad stuff happens. Happens all the time. It's crazy. It is just crazy. So when you're in the downs and you're really struggling with stuff, put aside some money. Well, I don't have it. I got to do it. Do it first. Pay yourself first. Put that aside first with gratitude. Make sense? It's really, really important. Let me talk to you about bills. Pay the oldest bill first. Because what you're doing is you're releasing the oldest karma and lifting yourself up. I think some financial advisors would probably agree with that. I don't know. There may be some logical reason for that. But energetically, pay those old bills first. Get them out of the way. Because some of that old stuff is from way back when. And when you're pulling your bills out, instead of going, oh my God, look at that. Electric bill is too high, or oh my gosh, I can't believe the credit card is so high. Look at that. What did you spend your money on? What did you charge? Be grateful for what you received. And pay the oldest bill first. And that increases the flow. That increases the flow. Don't you think? I want to talk to you about giving. Now, Phil and I have this thing. We don't like to talk about it. Because giving is a part of it. And I think giving service is a huge part of everything. I think giving your service is separate from giving, putting money in the basket. Now, Phil and I have this thing. We came from a church where they were always hounding you about money. Drove me nuts. Well, I have this big project and you have to pay for it. Okay. And it better be at least 10%. It was just like, oh, I don't know, I don't like that. But there's something magical about putting money in the basket. Phil and I, we were at the pits. We sold our house 3 days before it foreclosed. Bills, we were drowning in bills. We had chased a dream that had abandoned us, didn't work out. But we had to do it. And there we were, the bottom of the barrel. And we knew we had to leave. So we left Texas. We were leaving Texas and coming back up here. We're going to stay with my folks for a couple of months till we got our feet on the ground, decided where we wanted to be, what we wanted to do with ourselves. And recovering from a shattered dream is really hard. Because you put your heart, your soul, your mind, your money, everything into that. So we were worn out emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially at the pits. So we had a good talk with each other. And we thought, we got to give. If we want to get, we got to give. So we kind of had been watching this televangelist. I'm not sure I would give the same televangelist money now that I did then, but he was a wonderful stopgap in a time when we had no hope, really no hope. We were devastated, pretty emotionally devastated. And he was this shining little ray of hope saying, yes, you can do it. God loves you. And we needed that. So we sat down and we thought, well, we need to give this guy something. We want the flow, then we better get in the flow. If we want the flow, we better jump in the stream. So we had to decide how much to give. So we thought, well, give him $20. Well, that didn't feel right. Oh, we could give him $1,000. Well, that didn't feel right. So we went back and forth with what did feel right until we both came to a number. It was $300. It was a lot for us, but it wasn't everything. We didn't give him everything. But it felt right. We did this ring true, not okay thing. Let me tell you how that works. You figure an amount in your head, and you go, is this right? Anybody goes, oh, hell no, that's not right. There's no way. And then you think of one on the opposite end. Well, does that feel right? No, that doesn't feel right. And then you cut it in the middle. Does that feel about right? Well, yeah, kind of, sort of. We'll go a little lower. Well, that feels better. No, it does not feel good. How about up here? Well, that feels better. Until you find just the right amount. You don't walk into a place and see, oh, gee, I wonder what I got in my wallet. That's not, you're a little behind the times, if that's what you're doing. Do this at home. Ask, pray about it. Prayer is really important when it comes to giving. It's not what's in your wallet, it's what's in your heart. And if you're giving it all and you're sacrificing your family, don't. God does not need your money. But you need the flow. You need to get in the flow. Let me repeat that. God does not need your money. He is the source of all of that. He doesn't need that. Bill and I have said before, if there's not enough funds to run the church, we'll take our toys and go home. It will be a sad day, but we're going to be okay with that. The church needs to function, but we don't need you to go into debt over it. We need you to listen to your heart about it. And not have some expectation of, well, it's got to be this much because that's what the last church haunted us about. No, what does your heart say? Your heart knows. Your heart knows. Trust it. Trust it. But get in the flow. Because there's something different about putting money in a bucket than there is about just giving your service. And I'm not saying that's not the thing to do. I think there's just a magic that some of us are missing. Because we're not putting money in the basket. Okay?
When was the last time you talked about something like this?
Never.
18 years, never.
Never. And I feel like I've done you a disservice. Because there's some here who really need to get in the flow. You need it. You need it. But you need to come from here and get into the flow and not out of guilt. It's called a love donation, not a fear donation. If you're coming from fear of, oh, if I don't put something in, I'm not going to get anything back, it's not a donation. It's an extracted blackmail. Stop that. Don't give. Please, don't. That's blackmail money. I don't want it. That's not going to serve anybody. So I have to tell you about what happened after we gave this guy some money. We had a yard sale. Was it the next day? Next week? Something? Okay, so the house sold. We had to go. It was closing. And so everything had to go other than clothes on our back and a few items we could throw in our truck. We weren't quite sure how we were going to pay for the truck. We were hoping we had enough money to do that because, you know, we just had to get our stuff and get out of there. It was such a crazy yard sale. They had to have a special police officer directing traffic. People had bidding wars on our stuff. It was crazy. It was just crazy. They couldn't buy it fast enough. And they couldn't give us our money fast enough. And you know, there'd be stuff, I haven't had a chance to price that. Well, how about if I give you this much for it? Okay. Well, you should have, okay. Well, here, I'll give you that much for it. Oh, okay. It was crazy. It was crazy. So not only did we have enough to pay for the moving van, we had enough to drive back and take an extra day and kind of take it leisurely rather than driving, so we didn't have an extra day to figure out what we were going to eat. We also had enough to tide us over while we found jobs, even though we were staying with my folks. We had more than enough. We had a bounty. We had an abundance because we jumped in the stream of flow. And it was nuts. It was just crazy. We had, the next day, it was a 2-day sale. The second day, we had just a few piddly things. Nobody showed up, so we just hauled them to Goodwill. But it was like, well, it's okay, because we were right where we needed to be. It was incredible, just incredible. So listen to your heart. Listen to your heart about that. Trust that. There's a technique you might want to try. I tried this, and it worked. Oh my gosh, I shared it with somebody else. It worked. I was told get a $100 bill. I didn't have a $100 bill. So they said, well, get a 50. Oh, I don't have a $50 bill. I had a $10 bill. So I did this with a $10 bill, and it still worked. So what you do is whatever denomination you might have, break it into ones. I put a 1 in the silverware drawer. I put a 1 in my sock drawer. I put a 1 here and a 1 there. I put 1 in the bill basket. I put ones wherever I could. Well, 10 places. And every time I saw that dollar bill, open a drawer. Well, you got to get a spoon every time, stir your coffee, whatever. I was opening that drawer 100 times a day. I looked at that and go, oh, look, money. Bring friends. Open my sock drawer. Oh, look, there you are. There's more. Money's everywhere. I kept telling myself, money's everywhere. I'm so grateful I see money everywhere. So you might want to try that. Because the brain doesn't know the difference between a $1 bill and a $100 bill. It's money. And now, and money comes to me easily. I find money everywhere. And you know what? I'd find a $20 bill on the ground. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's the other part of the flow. The other part of the flow is being grateful, being mindful, and being joyful. Don't you think? It was fun. It was fun. Look, money's everywhere. Money comes to me easily and abundantly. And it worked. Now I have to say it took a little bit of time sometimes. And I'd feel a little down, and I'd next time I did a 20. Oh, that was fun. Oh, it's everywhere. Look, how much? Oh my gosh. There's money everywhere. I just had a job. I was a bookkeeper slash office manager gal. She was going through some financial stuff. She couldn't pay us. I was like, oh God, I don't know what to do with this. And so I told her about this. She put money everywhere. It was crazy. Some guy walked in off the street. Bills were due. She'd already written the checks and sent them. Some guy walks in off the street Friday afternoon, 3:30, and says, I was talking to what's her name, and she's going to be doing a video for me, an advertising video for me. So I want to pay you now for the whole thing, $5,000. That kept us running for 3 more months. And that was right after, I swear, within 2 days of her putting money everywhere. It's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. Don't you love it? So, let me read this to you one more time. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. So there's another flow. Delight yourself in the Lord. Well, what the heck does that mean? That means make it fun. Get yourself involved spiritually. Gratitude, again, top notch. Prayer. Pray about it. Prayer is awesome. Service. Kindness. Joy. Giving. Hope. Perseverance. I'm sure the list would go on and on and on. Put those things first. Put the good stuff first. And remember, worry is prayer in reverse. Let go of worry. Pay the oldest bill first. You did what you could. Put some money in your own savings account or your sock drawer. I would recommend a savings account, but you got to do what you got to do. Put money in the basket. Give service. Have gratitude. Be of joyful nature and have a goal. Have a goal. Goals are powerful. If we're just using the money to scrape by, we're short-circuiting this energetic circuit that is abundance. Have a goal. I would really like to do blah, blah, blah. Whatever that is, have a goal. Because the goal is going to be what sends you beyond the here and now and the panic and the fear. We're going to be talking over the next few months, next few weeks, whatever, however long it takes. We're talking about manifesting. And manifesting what your heart desires. Well, I don't know what I desire because all I am is worried about money. Well, it's time to start thinking outside that. Get a goal, get a hope, get a dream. Maybe it's a stupid one. What are you doing judging it? Who says it's stupid? You know, if it's your dream, it ain't stupid. And if you're like Phil and I, you've had some that have just kicked your butt. And you're afraid to dream again sometimes. Because sometimes you put your heart and soul and finances and everything on the line for a dream and it doesn't pan out. It's okay. Dream again. Dream again. Let your heart speak to you about what your heart desires. Sometimes the dreams don't happen because they're not really coming from our heart. They're coming from our expectations of what we should be doing or what we think is expected of us. So get back into your heart space. Your heart space is powerful. So I'd like to walk us through a guided meditation. You know, now would be wonderful. Now would be wonderful. That's a great idea. Thank you, sir. Phil has a song that was on our first the CD that the church created. It's called Hey Ya No Ya, and it's a blessing for abundance. So as soon as he's done playing that, then we'll do a guided